Have you ever looked around and wondered why some people stay calm when everything is falling apart, while others completely lose control over one small problem? Two people lose the same job. One spends the next year complaining, blaming the economy, scrolling social media, and waiting for life to become fair. The other feels the same fear, the same uncertainty, the same stress, but a year later they're healthier, earning more money, and living a completely different life. What changed? It wasn't luck, it wasn't talent, and it definitely wasn't motivation. It was something almost nobody talks about: the way they trained their mind. The truth is, most American people spend years learning how to drive, how to use technology, and how to make money. But almost nobody teaches you how to think. Nobody teaches you why your brain overreacts, why you keep repeating the same mistakes, why anxiety keeps coming back, why you know exactly what you should do, yet somehow never do it. If someone had explained these things to you 10 years ago, your relationships, career, confidence, and peace of mind might look completely different today. That's exactly why I made this video. I don't want this to be another motivational speech that makes you feel good for 20 minutes. I want this to become one of those videos you come back to whenever life feels confusing, because understanding your mind changes the way you experience everything else. So let's start with the first lesson. Lesson 1. Protect your attention before anything else. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Before you even leave your bed, you open your phone. A political argument, a celebrity scandal, someone showing off their new car, bad economic news, a video telling you society is collapsing, a stranger arguing in the comments. 15 minutes later, nothing in your real life has changed. Your bills are still the same. Your family is still the same. Your goals are still the same. But your mood is completely different. Most people think they're just catching up on the news. They're not. They're letting thousands of strangers decide what deserves their attention. And attention is the most valuable thing your brain owns. Every day, companies spend billions of dollars competing for it, because whoever controls your attention quietly influences your emotions, your decisions, and eventually, your life. Psychologists call this attentional bias. Your brain naturally gives more importance to emotional, dramatic, and threatening information because thousands of years ago, paying attention to danger helped humans survive. But today's danger isn't usually a wild animal. It's endless information. Your brain reacts the same way anyway. That's why one negative headline can stay in your mind all day. One rude comment can ruin your mood. One stressful email can make everything else feel heavier. Now think about something. When was the last time you sat quietly, without checking your phone, without music, without YouTube, without scrolling, without trying to distract yourself? For many people, that feels uncomfortable. Not because silence is uncomfortable, because silence finally allows them to hear the thoughts they've been avoiding. Your mind isn't naturally chaotic. It's constantly being interrupted. Imagine trying to read a book while someone changes the page every 10 seconds. Eventually, you stop understanding the story. That's exactly what happens to your mind when you switch between emails. TikTok, Instagram, text messages, podcasts, and news alerts every few minutes. You don't just lose focus, you lose clarity. And without clarity, even small decisions begin to feel overwhelming. Your brain can't solve problems, it can't see clearly. Let's say you're driving home after work. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Immediately your heart rate increases. You grip the steering wheel tighter. Maybe you yell. Maybe you keep replaying the moment long after it's happened. Now you finally get home. Your partner asks, "Everything okay?" You answer with a short, "I'm fine." But you're not really upset about traffic anymore. You're reacting to everything through the emotional state your brain never left. This is something psychologists call emotional carryover. One emotional event quietly colors the next one, then the next, until you think you're having a terrible day, when really your brain never had the chance to reset. American people often describe themselves as busy, but many aren't just busy. They're mentally overloaded. Their attention is being pulled in 20 different directions every hour. And when your attention is scattered, your thinking becomes scattered too. That's why some people make terrible decisions when they're stressed. Not because they're unintelligent, because stress narrows attention. You stop seeing possibilities. You only see threats. Imagine trying to solve a puzzle while someone keeps shaking the table. The pieces are still there. You just can't see how they fit together. Your mind works the same way. The calmer it becomes, the more clearly it sees. Stop feeding your brain constant noise. Think about your average evening. Dinner is playing in the background while Netflix is on. Your phone vibrates every few minutes. You're checking emails during commercials. Music starts when you drive. A podcast plays while you're at the gym. The television stays on while you fall asleep. Your brain never gets a break. And here's what's fascinating. Many of your best ideas will never appear while you're consuming information. They appear during quiet moments, while taking a walk, while showering, while staring out the window, while sitting on a park bench with nothing to do. Why? Because that's when your brain finally has enough space to connect ideas that were already there. Your greatest insights usually arrive in silence, not in stimulation. That's why many psychologists recommend creating small moments of mental recovery throughout the day. Not because doing nothing is productive, but because your brain needs empty space before it can think deeply. Try something simple. Tomorrow morning, don't touch your phone for the first 20 minutes. Open the window. Drink your coffee slowly. Notice the sounds outside. Watch your thoughts instead of following them. It will probably feel strange, maybe even boring. That's normal. Your brain has become accustomed to constant stimulation. But slowly, something begins to happen. Your thoughts become less rushed. Your breathing slows. Problems that felt impossible yesterday suddenly seem manageable. Not because your life changed overnight, but because your perspective did. And that leads to the next lesson. Because once you learn to protect your attention, you discover something even more surprising. Most of the limits holding you back don't come from the outside world. They come from a belief you've been carrying for years without ever questioning it. And once you see it, you'll never think about responsibility the same way again. Lesson 2. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Imagine you have an idea you've been thinking about for months. Maybe it's starting a small business. Maybe it's finally getting back into shape. Maybe it's asking someone out. Maybe it's changing careers. Every morning you tell yourself, I'll start when things calm down. I need more confidence first. I need more money. I need more time. Weeks become months. Months become years. One day you look back and realize you never actually lacked opportunity. You were waiting to feel ready. Here's the problem. Your brain rarely gives you permission to do difficult things. It gives you reasons to avoid them. Psychologists call this avoidance behavior. Whenever your brain predicts discomfort, embarrassment, or failure, it naturally pushes you toward what feels safe, not what's best, what's familiar. That's why staying in the same routine feels comfortable, even when you're unhappy, because your brain values certainty more than possibility. Imagine standing at the edge of a cold swimming pool. The longer you think about jumping, the colder the water seems. But the moment you jump, you realize the anticipation was worse than the experience itself. Life works the same way. The fear usually lives before the action, not after it. Nobody is coming to build your life for you. Here's something most people realize much later than they wish. Nobody wakes up every morning thinking about your dreams. Your coworkers are worried about their careers. Your neighbors are thinking about their own families. Your friends have problems you may never even know about. Your parents, even if they love you deeply, can't live your life for you. That isn't depressing, it's freeing. Because once you stop expecting someone else to rescue your future, you start building it yourself. Think about the people you admire. The teacher who inspired hundreds of students. The entrepreneur who built something meaningful. The firefighter who runs toward danger. The nurse working a 12-hour shift. The father getting up early every morning to provide for his family. None of them became who they are because someone guaranteed success. They kept moving before they felt certain. That's the difference. They acted despite uncertainty, not after uncertainty disappeared. Many American people spend years looking for confidence, but confidence usually comes after repeated action, not before. A child doesn't learn to ride a bicycle by reading books about balance. They wobble, they fall, they get back up. Eventually, balance becomes natural. Your confidence grows the exact same way. The story you keep telling yourself. Now imagine two people walking into the same job interview. Both are nervous. Both have similar experience. Both want the position. The first person keeps thinking, I hope they like me. I hope I don't mess this up. What if I embarrass myself? The second person thinks something different. I'm here to see if this opportunity fits me. I'll do my best. If it doesn't work out, I'll learn something. Nothing changed outside. The interview is identical. The difference is the story happening inside their minds. Psychologists call these internal narratives. Your brain is constantly explaining your experiences. The dangerous part, most people never question those explanations. You fail one exam. Your brain says, I'm just not smart. A relationship ends. I'm impossible to love. A business struggles. I'm not meant for this. Eventually, those thoughts stop feeling like opinions. They start feeling like facts, but they were never facts. They were interpretations. Imagine wearing sunglasses with dark lenses your entire life. Eventually you stop noticing the glasses. You simply believe the world is darker. Your beliefs work exactly the same way. If you've repeated the same story for years, you stop realizing it's a story. You think it's reality. Your environment is quietly programming you. Take a look at the people you spend the most time with. Do they constantly complain? Do they always find someone else to blame? Do they believe success only happens because of luck? Or do they solve problems? Do they take responsibility? Do they look for opportunities instead of excuses? Human beings naturally copy behavior. It's one reason habits spread through families, workplaces, and friend groups. Imagine joining a gym where everyone trains consistently. Showing up starts to feel normal. Now imagine spending every weekend with people who constantly complain about work, but never try to improve their situation. Eventually, that mindset begins to feel normal too. The people around you don't just influence your behavior, they influence what you believe is possible. This doesn't mean you stop loving your friends or family. It means you become intentional about what you're exposing your mind to every day, because every conversation is teaching you something. Every habit is contagious. Every belief is borrowed from somewhere. The question is, are you borrowing beliefs that move your life forward or keep you standing still? Responsibility isn't a punishment. Many people hear the word responsibility and immediately think about pressure, more work, more stress, more problems. But real responsibility does something unexpected. It gives you power. Imagine getting caught in heavy rain. You can spend an hour complaining about the weather, or you can grab an umbrella. The rain doesn't stop, but your experience changes. Life is full of situations you can't control. The economy, other people's opinions, unexpected setbacks, a company laying people off, a relationship ending, a health challenge. You don't control every event. You do control what happens next. That's where your influence begins. The moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I do now? Your brain shifts from feeling helpless to searching for solutions. That question alone changes how your mind works, because your attention moves away from blame and toward action. The hidden cost of waiting. Here's something most people never notice. Every time you postpone an important decision, you're teaching your brain something. You're teaching it that fear gets to make the decision. Do that enough times, and hesitation becomes your personality. Not because you were born that way, because you practiced it. But the opposite is also true. Every small action builds evidence. You wake up early one morning, you keep a promise to yourself. You finish one difficult task. You have one uncomfortable conversation instead of avoiding it. Each action quietly tells your brain, I'm someone who follows through. Identity isn't built in one dramatic moment. It's built in thousands of ordinary moments no one else ever sees. And once you begin changing your identity, your habits begin changing with it. But there's one final obstacle almost everyone faces. Even after taking responsibility, even after protecting their attention, even after changing their habits, most people are still controlled by something they don't fully understand, their emotions. And if you don't learn how to work with your emotions instead of fighting them, they'll quietly decide your future for you. That's exactly what we'll explore next. Lesson 3. Learn to control your emotions before they control you. Think about the last argument you had. Maybe it was with your partner, a coworker, a family member, or maybe a stranger online. At first, it was just one sentence, then another. Within minutes, both of you were no longer trying to understand each other. You were trying to win. Have you ever noticed something strange? The louder an argument becomes, the less anyone is actually listening. That's because your brain changes when emotions become too intense. When you feel attacked, your brain shifts into survival mode. Instead of asking, what's true? It starts asking, how do I protect myself? The conversation stops being about solving a problem. It becomes about defending your identity. That's why saying, calm down, almost never works. People don't calm down because someone tells them to. They calm down when they feel understood. Imagine your friend walks into your apartment after getting fired. You have two choices. You immediately start giving advice. You should have worked harder. You'll find another job. Don't worry about it. Maybe those things are true, but that's probably not what they need in that moment. Now imagine a different response. You simply say, that must have been really hard. Then you listen. No interruptions, no lecture, no trying to fix everything, just listening. Most people don't realize this. Sometimes understanding someone creates more change than trying to correct them. Because when people feel safe, their minds naturally become more open. This isn't just true in relationships, it's true with yourself too. How often do you attack yourself every single day? I should be further ahead. I'm lazy. I always mess things up. I'm behind everyone else. Imagine speaking to your best friend that way. You never would. Yet many people spend years speaking to themselves, with more cruelty than anyone else ever has. Psychologists call this negative self-talk. Over time, your brain begins believing the words it hears most often, even when those words come from you. The strongest people aren't the ones who never feel emotional. They're the ones who notice emotions, without letting those emotions make every decision. That's emotional maturity, not emotional suppression. Lesson 4. Become someone who leaves people better than you found them. Here's a question most people never ask themselves. When someone leaves a conversation with you, do they usually feel lighter or heavier? Think about that. Every day you walk past dozens of people carrying invisible burdens. The cashier working a double shift, the co-worker pretending everything is okay, the neighbor taking care of an aging parent, the college student wondering if they're good enough, the father trying to provide for his family, the mother who hasn't had a quiet moment all week. You usually can't see what people are carrying, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. Now imagine you walk into work tomorrow morning. Instead of rushing to your desk, you genuinely ask someone, "How are you doing?" And this time, you actually wait for the answer. No phone, no distractions, just attention. That simple moment might mean more than you realize. Because one thing almost every human being wants is to feel seen, not judged, not fixed, seen. Many people spend years trying to become successful. Very few spend time becoming valuable. There's a difference. Success asks, "What can I get?" Value asks, "What can I give?" Ironically, the people who create the most value usually become successful anyway. Not because they chased status, because they solved problems. Think about the people you've never forgotten. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you, a coach who pushed you, a friend who listened when nobody else did. You remember them because they changed the direction of your life. Not with money, not with fame, but with presence. The same opportunity exists for you every single day. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need to be famous. Sometimes changing one person's day changes the direction of their entire year. Lesson 5. Never stop learning how people work. Look at anyone who's truly exceptional in their field. A great chef, a great architect, a great athlete, a great psychologist. They all have something in common. Curiosity. They never stop studying. Not because someone forces them to, because they genuinely want to understand. Most people consume information. Very few study it. There's a difference. Watching random videos for 3 hours isn't learning. Reading one great book, taking notes, applying one idea, then reflecting on the results. That's learning. Imagine two people buying the exact same camera. One takes random pictures every weekend. The other spends months learning light, composition, storytelling, editing. 5 years later, they're holding the same equipment, but producing completely different results. Knowledge changes what you notice, and what you notice changes the life you experience. The same thing happens with psychology. Once you understand why people behave the way they do, you stop taking everything personally. You stop assuming. You become curious instead. Curiosity is one of the healthiest habits your mind can develop. Because curious people ask questions, fearful people make assumptions. One leads to growth, the other leads to misunderstanding. Your life changes twice. There's an old idea in psychology. You don't change the day you learn something. You change the day you begin practicing it. Watching this video won't change your life. Understanding it won't either. Your life changes the next time someone criticizes you. And instead of reacting, you pause. It changes the next morning when you don't immediately reach for your phone. It changes when you replace 10 minutes of scrolling with 10 minutes of thinking. It changes when you stop waiting for perfect conditions and take one imperfect step forward. Real transformation is rarely dramatic. It looks ordinary. One healthier choice, one calmer conversation, one honest decision, repeated hundreds of times. Eventually, those tiny decisions become habits. Those habits become your identity. And one day, people will tell you, you've changed. They'll think it happened overnight. Only you will know. It happened one quiet decision at a time. Final thought. Nobody is born with complete confidence. Nobody is born emotionally mature. Nobody arrives in adulthood already understanding how to think clearly, build healthy relationships, or stay calm under pressure. These are skills, and every skill can be practiced. The world will always be noisy. There will always be another headline, another opinion, another reason to panic. But your greatest advantage has never been controlling the world around you. It's learning to control the way you respond to it. Because the quality of your life isn't measured only by what happens to you. It's measured by the mind that experiences it. So the next time life feels overwhelming, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask something far more powerful. Who am I becoming because of this? That single question has the power to change every decision that comes after it. And maybe, years from now, you'll look back on this moment and realize the biggest change in your life didn't begin when your circumstances changed. It began the day you finally understood your own mind. If this video helped you see yourself differently, subscribe and join me for the next one. Because understanding your mind is only the first step. Learning how to reshape it is where your real transformation begins.